Be a good sport and learn to talk to anyone. People talk in a number of ways, and these ways differ from person to person. Some people speak only when it's their turn. They tend to listen quietly until other speakers finish. This is like bowling. Each person takes turns playing. It's common in places where being polite is very important. Then, there are people who like fast and energetic conversations. They jump in quickly, talk over each other, and switch topics often. This style is more like playing rugby. Many players move at the same time and things happen quickly. It shows they are excited and want to share their ideas. Another style is more balanced. People take short turns, respond quickly, and build on what others say. This is like playing basketball. Players pass the ball smoothly and work together to continue the conversation. These three styles, bowling, rugby, and basketball, are examples of the varied and active nature of communication.
Today's warm-up quiz is Peggy for having a blank life. She works hard, exercises 3 times a week, and meets up with friends. A. Scared. B. Balanced. C. Surprised. D. Wicked.
You have 15 seconds to think about it. Time's up.
Hi everyone, welcome to English for You. I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Elsie.
And today we're going to be talking about how to communicate with people and how you can learn to be a master of communication.
Wow, sounds very professional.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue. Well, let's read the article. It says, people talk in a number of ways. And these ways differ from person to person, right? So differ just comes from the word different. And to differ just means to be different from somebody or something.
好，我们以前都学过的 different 是形容词不一样的。那今天看到 differ 是动词，不同或是不同于点点点或是有区别。那在这边呢，我们看到今天的文法重点 ，Let's take a look。在今天的 Language in Focus 当中呢，我们要讲到的是 a number of 还有 an amount of 的不同。这两个片语呢，都是表达某些数量的片语，但是所修饰的名词不同哦。如果你使用的是 a number of， 后面可以加上可数名词，表示一些或是若干。那如果你用的是 an amount of， 后面要加的是不可数名词，表示的一样也是一些或是一定的量。那两者呢，皆可以用形容词来形容，比如说 great、large、small 或是 specific。好，你可以用这些形容词来搭配，来强调数量的多寡。所以我们来造一个例句，使用 a number of 加上可数名词。For example, a small number of students stayed after class to ask questions. 有几位学生下课之后留下来问问题。或者是呢，如果使用的是 an amount of 后面加上不可数名词，我们可以造这样的句子。A large amount of water was used to put out the fire. 灭火的时候用了大量的水。好，所以回到课文当中，人们说话的方式有很多种，而且这些方式会因人而异。So what are some of these talking styles?
Okay, let's take a look. It says, some people speak only when it's their turn. They tend to listen quietly until other speakers finish. Now, tend here is a verb, and when you tend to do something, it means you're likely to do something or happen or let it happen in a particular way because this is what often happens or this is what usually happens. So, for example, we can say, Jenny tends to focus more on songwriting even though she's an amazing singer.
Tend 这个动词呢是倾向于，那后面呢会加上 to 以及一个原形动词来表示倾向于做某事或是往往会做某事。所以课文说到有些人呢只在轮到自己该开口的时候才开口，他们往往会安静的倾听，直到其他人把话都说完。
Here it says, this is like bowling. Each person takes turns playing. It's common in places where being polite is very important.
Oh, like in Taiwan, right?
Yes.
所以这种风格呢，就像打保龄球一样，每个人就轮流进行。那这是在比较重视礼貌的地方是常见的说话方式。
So that's one of them. And then it says here, then there are people who like fast and energetic conversations.
有些人喜欢快速而且充满活力的对话。
That gives me too much energy, I think.
I just want to tell them, chill out.
Yes, please calm down. Here it says they jump in quickly, talk over each other, and switch topics often. Yeah, jump in is a phrase and it means to interrupt someone or suddenly join a conversation. Next, when you talk over somebody, this phrase means to silence or drown out somebody or someone by talking more loudly, forcefully, and persistently than them. So in these kind of conversations, you're just going to be hearing a lot of like blah, 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 people talking over each other, and it's just very, very noisy sometimes.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like they're fighting
Yeah.
or arguing, right?
Exactly.
Jump in 这个片语呢，是插话或是打断某人谈话，也可以用 cut in 来说。那再来 talk over somebody 是抢着说话，说话的声音大过别人。So I don't like people who talk over others when they're speaking.
Yeah, same here. I think it's because we're from polite countries,
Yes.
so we have a different talking style. So here, going back to this style where people jump in and talk over each other, they also like to switch topics. Switch here means to change. It's a verb and it means to change or make something change from one thing to another. So, for example, people who are bilingual are able to speak one language and then switch or change to another one. For example, we can also use it in a sentence like this. The twins wanted to pull a trick on their family, so they switched clothes and pretended to be each other.
Switch 这个动词呢是改变或是转换，那可以表示改变方向啦、话题或是方法，或是从一种状态转换到另外一种。所以我们有比如说刚刚讲到的 switch topics 转换话题，或是 switch seats 换座位，那还有像是 switch roles 那就是交换角色。所以呢，这样的说话方式当中呢，他们会迅速的插话，同时发言，然后常常变换话题。
Yeah, I think they're just very excited to share things with each other. Here the article says, this style is more like playing rugby. Many players move at the same time and things happen quickly.
Rugby 是橄榄球，那它跟 American football 美式足球是不一样的哦。So in American football games, players wear heavy gear like helmets and pads. 好，他们会戴安全帽啦，然后你会看到那个肩膀那边有很大一块，就是他们的护具，好，来 protect themselves. 那这边课文说到呢，这样的讲话方式比较像打橄榄球的方式，很多人同时行动，那事情会发展的相当快速。
Next it says, it shows they are excited and want to share their ideas. So yeah, they're very passionate perhaps.
这可以显示他们很兴奋，然后呢，很想分享自己的想法。
Yeah, so do you think any of these styles are yours so far?
Maybe the bowling style, right? I think I'm more like a quiet listener.
Yeah, I think it really makes sense because we do come from polite countries. So we kind of like take turns letting people speak and stuff.
And we wait for our turn to talk.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more. There's another style. It says, another style is more balanced. Okay, when something is balanced, it's an adjective and it means that things are equal or they are in correct amounts. So, for example, having a balanced meal means eating equal amounts of vegetables, fruits, meats, etc. When it's the opposite, and you eat a lot of junk food or you only eat one specific thing, we call that unbalanced. Okay, so an unbalanced meal, for example, is, just eating a lot of junk food or just only eating meat. We can use balanced in a sentence like this. Our vacation was really balanced well. There were fun activities and also times to relax.
Balanced 这个形容词呢，是表示各方面都适当、平均、不偏不倚的。那常用来形容饮食啦、生活方式、个性或是互动方式。那常见的搭配词有，比如说 balanced diet 均衡的饮食，或是 balanced lifestyle 均衡的生活方式 or a balanced conversation 那就是互相配合啦，轮流发言的对话方式。那我们来想想看，今天的 warm up quiz 里头 你有没有答对呢？题目是 I admire Peggy for having a blank life. She works hard, exercises 3 times a week, and meets up with friends. 我们有 A 选项的 scared 恐惧的， B 选项 balanced 均衡的， C 选项 surprised 惊讶的，还有 D wicked 邪恶的。那我们的 Peggy 她有怎么样的生活呢？她有的是均衡的生活， a balanced life. Okay, so what's this more balanced style of talking like?
Okay, let's see. It says, people take short turns, respond quickly, and build on what others say. Okay, when you respond, it's a verb and it means to do something as a reaction that has been said or done. It can also mean to say or write something as a reply. So for example, if someone writes you an email or they text you something, you can respond to them. That is your reply. Here we can use respond in a sentence like this. The journalist asked a very tough question, so I thought about it first before I responded. Here, we also saw the phrase build on. So not only do they take turns to respond or reply each other, they also build on what other people say. When you build on something, it means to base something on something else. So for example, an argument should be built on logic if you're a lawyer.
好，我们整理一下刚刚看到的 respond 动词是反应回答或是回应，那 build on something 就是以点点点为基础，所以课文说到呢，人们轮流发言的时间其实很短的，反应很快，并且会在他人的话语基础上面继续做发展。
Here, the article says, this is like playing basketball. Players pass the ball smoothly and work together to continue the conversation. Okay, so this is a pretty good comparison. In basketball, players will pass the ball smoothly. Smoothly here is an adverb, and it means without problems or difficulties. Or it can also mean in a steady way without any stopping or starting again. So yeah, if you watch the NBA or if you watch any basketball games, usually the players can pass the ball to each other with not a lot of problems. They have an organized strategy and they work together. Here we can use smoothly in a sentence like this. Kim was nervous about the job interview, but thankfully it went smoothly for her.
Smoothly 这个副词是顺畅地或是流畅地，那就表示事情进行得很好，没有困难或中断，常用来形容修饰对话或是过程或是操作。那再来呢，常见的句子有像刚刚说到的 things went smoothly， 那就是事情进行得很顺利，或者是 the meeting ran smoothly， 那就是会议进行得很流畅。那形容词的形式呢，我们就把字尾的 ly 去掉，变成 smooth， 它就是平滑的或是顺利的，像是呢 the road is smooth, not bumpy， 这条路很平坦不颠簸。那我们这边就讲到啊，这样的说话方式像是打篮球一样，球员之间流畅的传球，一起合作，让对话顺利进行。So we've mentioned rugby.Oh, the first one was bowling.
Yes.
And then rugby, and then basketball.
Oh, these are actually great ways to kind of describe the ways people talk.
So there are these 3 styles.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about them. It says, these 3 styles, bowling, rugby, and basketball, are examples of the varied and active nature of communication. That's right. So there's so many ways to communicate. And I think it's a great way if we use like bowling, rugby, and basketball and sports to give you guys an example. So here, varied is an adjective and it means of many different types. So for example, we can say, the fancy new supermarket in town has a varied selection of cheese.
Varied 这个形容词是有变化的或是多变的。那课文最后说到啊，这3种风格，保龄球式、橄榄球式，还有篮球式，它就是沟通多样而且充满活力的表现。那沟通 communication 这个名词是交流或是沟通来解释它。那动词是 communicate， we can say communicate with somebody， 那就是和某人交流或是沟通。好啦，那这个就是我们今天的第一篇文章的结尾咯。不想错过更多精彩的 English for You 内容，就赶快订阅我们的 YouTube channel， 还有追踪 Facebook。
That's right. And you know what that means? It's time for our For You chat. Our question for today is, which style do you usually use when you communicate with others and why?
I thought I used the third kind more, but after reading today's article, I think I more like the first kind.
Yeah, the bowling one.
Yeah. What about you?
I think I'm a mixture of 3 sometimes because I think it depends like on who I'm with or like who I'm talking to. So I'm definitely more like bowling and basketball where I listen, I allow others to talk, and then it's more balanced. But sometimes when you're with your really good friends, you accidentally turn into the rugby style, right?
Oh, true. Very true. Because I was going to ask you, when do you become the second kind?
I think when you meet people, like your good friends, and you haven't seen them in a while, and you're so excited to share things, especially with your girlfriends, right? The girl time, you accidentally become the second one.
Yeah, or when you are trying to, debate or argue about something.
Oh, yeah. If you have like something very passionate to talk about, then probably the second one, you become that as well. So, yeah, I think that's the fun thing about communication is you're not always just one type of, like you don't only just have one type of communication style. You can have many depending on who you're talking to, what kind of situation you're in, etc. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun actually learning about this as well.
Yeah, so what about you guys? So talk about it with your teachers or your classmates.
Yeah, and you can also share with us in the comments. But that's all the time that we have for today. We do have more to learn about this in our second and third day, so don't forget to stay tuned. But that's all the time that we have. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Tend. I tend to eat snacks at night if I don't eat a good dinner. Switch. Can I switch to another TV channel now? The show I want to watch is starting soon. Balanced. Mia always keeps a balanced schedule with time for studying, exercise, and other activities. Respond. The police responded to the 110 call by sending officers to the scene of the car accident. Zoe didn't respond to my message because she was busy at work all day. Smoothly. The bus drove smoothly through the city streets without any sudden stops or shakes. Varied. The city has a varied population, with people from many countries and cultures living together.
智慧小补帖
Differ. Rugby. Communication.